Warning, the following video contains sponsored items, although all opinions given are 100% predatory exotics.
Hey, what is up guys, and welcome back to Predatory Exotics. So, we have a very exciting video today actually. We've been sent some, unreleased products at the time by Exo Terra. Basically, just before Christmas, we were contacted by Exo Terra regarding their new bulb range that they wanted us to test out, pretty much.
So yes, we've been actually testing out these bulbs for the last 2-3 months, seeing how they work with our reptile collection, because Exo Terra were kind enough to send us one of each. So the brand new Reptile UVB 100, 200 and 300, because there's three different strength of UVB for all your different reptile needs. And then we got even more stuff.
Yeah, basically, a couple months went by, we were doing the testing, and they said that the hoods had released as well, and asked us if we wanted to partake in testing out these as well. And so we haven't actually opened these yet, so this will be in this video. They arrived actually last week when we were out on a trip, which don't forget to check out, that video is coming out soon. But we're super excited to test out Exo Terra. As you can tell, all of our tanks that we pretty much use, all non-wooden ones, are Exo Terra, so it's a company we use a lot, and we're excited to see sort of what these hoods are going to be like.
So we're going to be showing you these 3 different strength UVBs with 3 different types of reptile and amphibian. Show you how we got on with them, because they're actually really universal. We didn't initially use them with these Exo Terra hoods. And then we're going to show you with the Exo Terra hood and what a sleek design they have made.
So the first part of the video is going to be all about the bulb, because it can be used in other ones as well, not just the Exo Terra hoods. And then the second part of the video is going to be more about the hoods. So let's get in and have a look at these bulbs.
So we are starting off with the smallest bulb out of them all, because it's on the smallest vivarium we have. This is the Reptile UVB 100. It is the lowest UVB output out of all of the bulbs they do. It is a 3% bulb, and that is pretty strange considering that the usual for the lowest wattage or lowest UVB output is 2%. But Exo Terra, I believe, have thought one step ahead, and because it's going on your Exo Terra mesh, the mesh actually takes away about 33%, about a third of your UVB output. So by doing a 3% rather than a 2%, you're actually getting 2% in the tank. So it's actually preemptively adding extra UVB to your tank. So it's a really awesome design. So we have chosen to use this 3% UVB bulb onto our chubby frog enclosure, and that is for a couple of different reasons. The chubby frogs are nocturnal, so they're not going to be exposed to really high UVB levels, and also they're amphibians, so they have quite sensitive skin, so we don't want to blast them with loads of UV, which could damage their sensitive skin. So according to the Ferguson zone, that's usually about Ferguson zone 1, and that is going to be animals that are primarily nocturnal or crepuscular, so things like your corn snakes, your leopard geckos, or things that have sensitive skin, such as your chubby frogs or your fire salamanders. So this is Exo Terra's middle strength of UVB. This is the Reptile UVB 200. Now, this is going to be for your Ferguson Zone 2 animals. So we've used it with our Cape African house snake, and it's working great so far. Now, the Cape African house snake is a nocturnal species, so you would be mistaken thinking it could be a Ferguson Zone 1 animal, but because they're from sub-Saharan Africa, they are exposed to a bit more of that UV radiation, even if it is in smaller doses in the morning and the evening. A bit like some of your other nocturnal or crepuscular animals, like your royal or your ball python, as well as your cresties and your leachianus as well. But it does include daytime animals, things like your garter snakes, your hognoses, and your California king snakes as well. So the percentage of this bulb is 7%. And just like that first bulb that we mentioned, where Exo Terra have cleverly upped it, so you actually get the correct amount of UVB inside your enclosure. Usually with a middle strength UVB, it's around 5 or 6%, but they've made this a 7% bulb. So once you've put it on your Exo Terra mesh and you lose about that 33% to a third of your UVB radiation, you're actually getting a much more correct amount inside your enclosure. So lastly is Exo Terra's highest UVB output bulb, and this is actually a 14% bulb, so it's a really strong bulb. Usually you would get a 12%, which would be a kind of Ferguson Zone 3, but this can even be used for Ferguson Zone 4 animals. So what we are going to be using this with is our Greek tortoise, Norris. So Norris is currently enjoying the nice spring, summer sunshine, but we are going to be using this in his indoor enclosure. So on these slightly more rubbish or weather days, he can go inside and still get a nice big chunk of UVB, because you can use this for a lot of Mediterranean tortoises that can be found on the higher end of the UVB scale, whether that's marginateds or your Greek tortoises, but you can also use it for things like your bearded dragons, your Euromastics, and some of your larger monitor lizards as well.
So guys, it is now time that we're actually going to be unboxing the first one. The only one we're actually going to probably show unboxing. We'll probably show the larger one, but they're pretty much going to be the same thing, just expanded. So obviously nice look of design on the box as per usual. And then from what I can tell on the front, it looks like it's going to be a nice design. It looks like it's got a nice pattern on both sides. Let's go ahead and see what you get inside. Obviously all your cables that you need for plugging in, and I'm assuming, is that a joiner? This
is the joiner, which is very cool because you can actually add up to 10 units together, which is very impressive. So you don't have to have loads and loads of plugs. You can plug up to 10 of these units all together.
So let's go ahead and take a look. It is a very nice flat design from just picking it up as like a start off. It looks like, because we have had experience with a hood in the past.
Yep.
We
so
have owned one.
Yes. So Exo Terra, I don't know if they still make them. The spiral bulbs. They did a hood for those, which was very chunky, and it was probably about 5 times the thickness of this. But this is a very sleek
nice
design.
So this was the pattern I was looking on the side. A cool little, like, I don't know, reptile-esque pattern. Yep. Like, it's nice to have.
This is the bit you can take the silicone bit out, and then that's where you add your connectors, so you can add multiple units together, which we are going to show you because we're going to put one on our chubby frogs and on our gargoyle next to it.
So as per Exo Terra, normally very clean and slick. It's very simple but does wonders. And yeah, big noticeable thing is how much thinner this hood is compared to other ones we've had. I think it's going to sit really nicely on top of the tanks. So let's go ahead and look at moving over the bulb and putting it onto the actual Exo Terra fitting.
Yes.
Alrighty guys, so we currently sit with most of our tanks. We have an Arcadia one on top, but it just gives you a good perspective of how universal this thing is. Because basically all you're going to do is there's 2 pins this side, 2 pins that side. You twist, so you hear a little click, they pop out. Grab your new hood, slide and align those things back in, and twist it back the other way, click. And that's pretty much ready to go.
While Ollie plugs that in, I'll just talk about a couple of features of the bulb and the hood as well. So the hood is really awesome because underneath you'll notice this lovely reflector here. So that's going to actually maximize your output of the UV bulb. It's going to add about 2.5 times the output, so you're really getting the maximum amount of effort of the bulb, pushing it down into it as well. And like Ollie mentioned, it's very versatile as well because we've been using it in the Arcadia fixtures as well. So it means you don't have to necessarily buy the hood straight away. If you need to save up a bit of money, you can then do that in the future.
So we've got it all hooked up and plugged in, and as you can see, it is back to being turned on.
So now we'll quickly show you it hooked up using the link cable to the other one as well, just so you can see how that works.
So we have now hooked up the link cable. Obviously this is not, we've not set it up exactly how we would actually have it fitted, but now it's hooked up to the second one, and that one's turned on. So yeah, running through 1 power cable, 1 plug for up to 10. 10 is crazy.
So now we'll show you it on the 3-foot Exo Terra.
All right guys, so it is time to pull out the much larger one. I don't see there being any real design difference with the larger ones. It's basically just going to be a copy and paste. Let's see. Yeah, wonderful. No, again though, sleek design, looking very nice. So they're obviously designing it to have as the bulb at the back, which I think is definitely a placement piece we need to think about.
Yeah, I'm assuming the ideal placement would probably be that logo on the front of the tank would look very nice, and then that would then obviously go towards the sort of middle of the tank. So we'll turn this bulb off so that we don't burn our fingers, and we'll show you it with it on. Looks pretty nice on the
Looks
front
pretty
of that.
nice on that one, yeah. So guys, we're actually going to be giving our final reviews and kind of thoughts. Like,
Yes.
at the end of the day, Exo Terra have provided with this to test these out, see how they go, and we're going to give you guys our honest response and
fully
review about
honest
it.
feedback, because we have a lot of pros of the product. We have a couple cons as well. We haven't been paid by Exo Terra to do this, although it is the kindness of their heart for giving us these awesome products.
Yes, we do like to give a massive thank you to Exo Terra for actually allowing us to do this and sending us an unreleased product. That's a very cool thing for us to be able to do here at Predator Exotics, and as you can see, we use Exo Terra a lot, so we're very happy. Thank you once again for reaching out to us.
So let's get on with pro number 1. The first pro, I think, it's actually very good for beginner keepers. If you notice with the packaging of the UVB Reptile 100, 200 and 300, it's a bit like a traffic light system. You're going from green with the lowest UVB up to amber and red. So even if you are a beginner keeper, it's easy to tell which ones are going to be the lowest to the highest UVB.
So moving on to pro number 2, it is the actual look of these hoods. Now, I don't even know if you guys can even tell on this camera that we've got the hood on the back here. They are very sleek looking and very up our alley here at Predator Exotics, with the whole black basically blending in, very thin design. Obviously there's cool designs on the side, and yeah, you can barely even tell. I can't even think the camera could pick it up.
100% a great modern look for your Exo Terra tank. Pro number 3 is actually going to be the thoughtfulness of Exo Terra for the UVB ratings. Because like I said, when we were going through the actual different animals, you've got what would usually be a 2% and a 6%. But because Exo Terra have thought ahead that it's going to be on top of your Exo Terra tank, they've upped it to that 3% and 7%, which I really like. It means you're actually getting way more UVB to your reptiles and amphibians.
So moving on to pro number 4, it is actually the bulb itself. Exo Terra have designed this new T5. It's the highest output on the market right now. And it is, you can look at all the graphs, we'll slap them up on screen, and they're on all of the sale parts of the product as well, which will also be linked down below. You can clearly see that this benchmarks way higher than anything else currently on the market.
So pro number 5 is actually something we've discovered on our Chubby Frog tank over there. I was using a different bulb and it was slightly more yellow, but this one's actually very white, and it's actually made the plants grow a lot better. And that's without an LED bar on the plants. They've actually got better coloration, they've grown a bit more, and that is just with this extra UVB bulb.
So it is time in the video to be a bit critical, because every review is going to have the critiques. Starting off with one that we wouldn't consider necessarily a con, it's more of a personal preference, is the actual colour of the bulb. Now obviously most bulbs in white, you get warm white and you get what's considered as ice white. Now, majority of bulbs we have used in the past have all been warm white, and this is an ice white. So that's not necessarily a con, it just will obviously look a bit different if you have a load of them set up and you've just put one new bulb in. You're obviously going to notice that it is now an ice white, but like Tom said, that could be potentially what's helping the plants grow.
Could potentially be the plants making them better, but at the end of the day, yes, personal preference. You may want to go for a slightly yellower bulb, you may prefer a more of an ice white bulb. So we do actually have 2 cons for this product. Now, not anything to do with the actual use of this bulb, but things that may just improve your life as a reptile keeper. The number 1 for me is, yes, they are very good on the top of your Exo Terra tank, and they probably are designed just to be used on top of your Exo Terra tank. But if you wanted to use them in a wooden viv or in a larger viv or something like that, there is no opportunity to screw them into anything. Unlike some other things where you can add clips and screw them up, maybe it's something Exo Terra could make small little brackets for your Exo Terra hood that you could screw to the roof of your wooden vivarium, so you can add that to that.
Moving on to what we consider as con number 2, it's actually going to be the cabling and the linkage. Now, the way that this is actually designed is both cables go in from a side angle. Now, this is obviously going to then add extra length onto each side. One of them, they have done a 90-degree angle, which is nice, it fits a bit nicer, but then the actual linkage cable itself does stick out quite a bit. So if you're like us, we have a lot of tanks that all sit on top of each other in very confined environments, it's going to add extra length, and sometimes we have to calculate stuff down to the centimeter to allow stuff to fit. So it would be better if maybe you had the opportunity to plug it into the back allowing the cables to run through the back of the tank, as that space is just not used for most reptile keepers, I believe. Yes. But that is just one thing you do need to keep in mind. As you can see by the clip that's on screen now, you do have a bit of overhang with close together tanks.
So now moving on to the price. We're not sure on the official RRP from Exo Terra, but going by what the prices are on Amazon, each bulb is going to set you back around £20, depending on obviously the length of the bulb. It might be slightly below or slightly above £20, which isn't actually too bad for the price of the bulb. The hoods, on the other hand, are slightly on the pricey side. So these 1 foot, which is 30 centimeter hoods, they're roughly selling for around about £60, and then the 3 foot hoods are selling for around about £90 a hood.
So it's just something to take into consideration. Obviously, we are going to recommend these bulbs,
yep,
definitely.
100%.
Hoods, great that they've made them universal. So if you guys do have hoods in general, feel free to use them. But personally, I think here for Predator Exotics, we're very happy with the sleekness of it. So that is definitely, if you guys have got the extra money to spend on these brand new hoods, then definitely go ahead. But the bulb is going to be a recommendation from us.
But that is what the kind of reptile keeping is about. It's all about aspiring to the next level. So if you're always improving your reptile care, that is the perfect thing you want to do. So if you can afford the bulbs right now and you can put them in your old ones, that is perfect, because they are, like we said, the best bulbs that are currently available on the market. And then you can aspire to have upgraded hoods for all of your tanks as well.
So we just want to give another thank you out to Exo Terra. We look forward to hopefully checking out some new stuff you've got coming out in the future as well, because it's been a lot of fun to receive these, and we think that they're going to look really good in the background of the majority of our videos now.
So hope you guys have enjoyed, and hope you guys have enjoyed learning about these Exo Terra products. Please comment down below whether you are currently using these Exo Terra new products, because they are actually fully released now. So feel free to comment on which ones you're using and what animals you're using it with as well.
So we hope you guys have enjoyed, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.